Orange seems to be the flavor of the day. Well, that orange was our original ideologue, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya, had also spoken very strongly about self-reliance. In his speech, very articulated the vision of integral humanism, which is a guiding principle for all of us today in government. He had said, and I quote, "Self-reliance isn't merely an economic principle. It is a principle that shapes the nation's character." And he had very well articulated that it is the holistic human being's development that truly matters, that will define India's journey of growth. Today, I heard Harshvardhan Agarwalji talk about several factors that are important in our journey in the Amrit Kaal. Whether it's innovation, whether it's skilling, whether it's the involvement of women and youth. The My formula nowadays has become very famous, and the Mahila Youth formula, and leads to even political successes. In fact, there was a time when most people would think good economics doesn't make for good politics. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has changed this old thinking, this old paradigm, and proven that good economics can make for good politics also. And look at the advantages that we have. In innovation, we are most cost competitive. Our young demographic dividend, the young population of India, provides us the strength on the back of which we can truly imagine or truly plan for large-scale innovation in the country. Day before yesterday, we had the Swiss minister come to engage with us on how we can expand investments from Switzerland and the EFTA countries. I'm sure you're all aware that the four-nation EFTA bloc, as a part of the FTA, committed to invest $100 billion in FDI, which will largely be innovation, which will largely be precision manufacturing. But that innovation in India, which will be probably at 1/5 the cost they would do it in Switzerland, or in Liechtenstein, or in the US, or in Europe, which will happen at 1/5 that cost, will also need a mindset change. Will also need all of us to be willing to get out of the old culture where we were stuck on thinking which was 30 years behind our times. I was just sharing with somebody the other day, probably we could have done our FTAs with UK and European Union and with this EFTA bloc 25 years ago, but for the fixation in our mind that we have to protect the auto industry and wines and spirits. And what were we protecting? We were protecting a mindset that was not futuristic in its thinking. That was very, very backward in its thinking. Competition always brings more efficiency, always brings more choice for the consumer. It helps us look at our competitive advantages and go forward for the good of the nation.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.